All righty. Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year, because I have not been live for probably 6 or 7 weeks now. So it's the first one back for the year and back at Melbourne HQ. As of yesterday, we've moved back, ready for the school year. And Sharon Westin is right next to me here, ready to rock and roll as well. She's just started up. Thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, I love your background, because that's something we're talking about today, you guys. We're talking about unlocking your creativity to build the life of your dreams. And Sharon is one of our recently published authors of the book Unmasking the Past. Show us your book. Hold it up. There it is. That's her. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a description of who Sharon is and what she does. And then we're going to get stuck into the content. And it's a great way for us to start the year, unlocking some more creativity and being innovative as we go through. All right. So Sharon is a graphic designer. She's an art teacher, retreat owner, and the author of Unmasking the Past. She is a business owner who lives in Melbourne. So just around the corner from me. Sharon works out of her own home studio and has successfully run Sharon Westin Graphic Design since 2011, Art Classes Australia since 2019, and Artfulness Retreats since 2020, which is one of her big passions currently. She's a lifelong creative who hustles to get shit done to build the life she desires while doing her own inner work. Sharon found a passion for helping others get back to their creative and authentic self. All right, so let's talk about where did this passion, obviously graphic design and then artfulness. Yes. It's like they're two very different things. Tell me a little bit about where does this connection come from and what prompted you to want to write a book?
Okay, so excuse me, as a graphic designer, I've wanted to be a graphic designer since I was a young child. So I've been creative forever. In 2020, at the very beginning, just before COVID, I was lucky enough to go to a retreat in Fiji, and that just opened my mind. It opened my world, and that's where I started getting the ideas for my own retreats in Artfulness Retreats. Then moving forward, I had done a DNA test to purely check my heritage. I wanted to see that breakdown of where I came from.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I got a surprise in that my father is not my father. I was not looking for this information. It was quite unexpected. And so that's really what prompted me to then write this book. I've been told for some years that I should write a book anyway, because my life has had lots of ups and downs. Yeah. But this was really the catalyst of me getting out there and writing it. And the timing was perfect because I'd come across your ad at the same time that I was thinking and going through this process. So it all just worked perfectly.
Wow. So tell me a little bit, what do you share throughout your book? The first book,
so,
that you're already writing a second book.
Yes. So it basically goes through different elements of my life where I've had struggles. I grew up in a very negative household. So it's taken me, I'm now 45, but it took me 40 years really to get to the moment of, I need to change this. This is not how I want to live my life. And so for the last 5 years, I've really been going through that process. So each chapter details different downs in my life. And then at the end of each chapter, there's a reflection section that, I discuss what I've been through, how I got through it. And then at the very end of the book, there's a chapter on all of the things that I've done to become more positive, even bring more creativity into my life. Yeah. And basically a spiritual journey. I've seen spiritual healers, I've done emotional detoxes, I've done all sorts of different things to try to get myself, basically raise my own vibration to be happier.
Wow. Yeah. And that's kind of your passion of where you want to show others how to do this for themselves through
Absolutely.
So tell
Absolutely.
me a little bit more, I guess, help us unlock our creativity. What are some of the things that have been super important? I know you say there are 3 key things that, you do day in and day out. Talk us through those and give me some tips. I always look for new tips.
So I talk about creativity, meditation, and basically just breath work. Breathing is our first medicine. So any moment that you're feeling a bit anxious or stressed, the first thing I do is always just take some deep breaths straight into the belly, not into the chest. You want to get right down into the belly. And that just gives your brain a moment to reset. So doing breath work, there's many different exercises you can do with breath work, like, you know, breathing in for 7 seconds, holding for 4, breathing out for 8 seconds, and just repeating that process until you've calmed down. And once you've got a calmer mind, you're far more able to then work on that problem that you have, or get past that anxiety. It won't get rid of it. It's an ongoing process. And you know, my life, the rest of my life now, is a continual journey of self-improvement and helping others. Other than that, I do meditation. Again, I have to follow a guided meditation. I can't sit and meditate by myself. I need to be helped along with that process. And when I do talk about meditation for others, because I know it's not for everyone, I do talk about things like even just exercise, gardening. It doesn't actually have to be sitting there and, you know, saying om. It can be anything that actually helps you just calm your mind. It could be going for a walk, like I said, gardening, getting out and just pulling out some weeds, you know, different things like that. So you've got to find something that works for you. And the creativity, like I said, that's been a part of my life forever. I think I've got photos of me as a toddler with pencils in my hand. So everyone that I come across that doesn't have a creative profession or hobby, they all say that they can't create, they're not creative, but it's within us. It's actually grown out of us. So when we're children, we're constantly creative. So what I like people to do is to go back and think about those times, and it could just be simply doodling. So just a pen and paper while you're on the phone, just doodling.
Yes.
You know, if you want to delve into the creative arts, you can, you know, watercolor is a really easy first step. And again, it could be knitting. It doesn't have to be painting. It doesn't have to be drawing. It can be cooking and baking. Anything that basically gets you into a state of flow, which is quite similar to meditation as well. Yes. So I find when I'm painting myself, I can lose hours because I really just, I relax and I just get into that flow, and, you know, my mind wanders, which is wonderful, which is, meditation isn't about actually getting rid of the thoughts in your mind. Yes. It's about letting them sit and be there and then let them pass through.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I don't enjoy like kind of set times for meditation, or like yourself, I'll always have to do it guided if I'm going to do it.
Yes.
But finding things that, like, I like painting and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
mm-hmm.
cool. And Kim's just saying on the comments here that she's really happy that you raised your own vibration, but she mindful weeding. She likes to do the mindful.
Yes, absolutely. And you really do. You do get yourself into that calm state, and that's what we need to do to actually move forward. Yeah. So whenever we've got a problem, whether it's big or small, everyone's problems are relative to themselves. So, you know, when you do have a problem, you know, do some breath work, get out into the garden, do some painting, go for a walk, and that will then help you calm your mind to then move past that problem or find the solution.
Because it emotionally charges us, doesn't it? Either
absolutely.
Not problems, but I guess positive things, you know, we can get too excited or too upset about something.
Oh, absolutely. It goes both ways for sure.
Is out of neutral, and that's what I always keep saying, you know, it's like you can't proceed otherwise.
Exactly.
You'll make too rash a decision, or you'll say something that you didn't mean.
Exactly. So it really is, it's I liken it to the pH level in water. So you know, if the pH is out, what you need to do is add something to bring it back down to that median point. So that's what I do with the creativity and meditation, is to just bring myself back down into the vibrate. Well, not down, I'm actually raising my vibrations. Yes. But it's to a level that calms me. Yeah. And everyone's different. They'll find their own spot. They'll find their own flow. It's something that works for them. Yeah,
but everyone needs to have some processes to, you know, come back to neutral. Tell me all those paints behind you.
Yes.
Them, like, is it like for full-on proper painting?
It is. So these paints here are for my students. So I teach children's art classes. Yes. So I can have up to 10 students in here, and we just get crazy with paint. I usually I don't have set classwork. So I'll have an idea of what I want the children to do, but then I get them to discuss it and work out how they want to do it. And then I guide each child as to, you know, which way they're going. So rather than a set box of you must paint this and it must be like this, I'm trying to increase their creativity as well by them making their own decisions and choosing which paint to use or which medium to use and which paper to use or canvas. So
yeah, I guess that's what you're trying to do is get them to be creative. Otherwise, if you have
exactly
a structure or
exactly
a lesson plan, it's just a lesson plan. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
love that, you know. And do you do some of your own painting, like, you know,
outside? I do very much so.
What is it about painting, do you think, or, you know, drawing that, you know, helps people? What are some of the benefits from it, do you think?
I think
a better state, if you like.
So like I was saying with the art classes, I generally go into a painting not with much of a plan of what I want it to come out like, because I'll always be disappointed. It will never come out looking the way that I can see it in my head. So I'm very much a get in there and get messy painter. Yes. And then something forms from that. So doing it that way, I find it's far more relaxing. I have the music going as well. That's another one of my tips is just, you know, music is my medicine as well. I've recently done a portrait of an African lady. And so I had upbeat African drums playing while I was painting, just to get me into the mood of painting what I'm doing. So I find it just changes the way that your body feels, my mind calms. Yeah. And I can lose hours in it, just, you know, finding my way, and I get so much joy out of it.
Awesome. And so you say you can do classes for children. I mean, on top of graphic design work.
Yes.
Tell me about the Artfulness Retreats, like, because obviously some of these things that you naturally do now, you know, kind of unconsciously, other people need to learn, right?
Exactly. So the retreats are over 2 days, and we have set 4 different art workshops, and they then tie in with the meditations that we're doing. So we'll do a chakra cleansing meditation, and then we'll do artwork with chakra colors. So the people can then choose which chakra they feel is blocked. They can then do an artwork using that color. We have beautiful music playing the whole time. It's wonderfully catered, usually a vegetarian menu to be a little bit more healthy. And then we also have a massage, a shiatsu massage for each participant. So they leave completely relaxed, and they always leave with multiple artworks, but they're usually very, very proud of one particular one that, you know, they thought they couldn't do. Everyone comes in thinking that they can't actually make a masterpiece. Yes. But I guide them. And again, it's about letting go of the thought that I can't do this, or the thought that I'm no good at. Yeah. Exactly. So I try to get them very, very relaxed first. And then we proceed with the artworks, and, you know, the look on their faces and just the calmness, like the change from the morning that they arrive to the evening that they leave it's a very big difference. They're very calm, relaxed and happy. Yeah. So they go over 2 days. Do they sleep over, or? They do. So it's the one night. Yes. Yeah. Well, they start on the Friday night just as a bit of a welcome. Yes. So they can settle in, and then we start at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning. So, and it's held in Listerfield in Melbourne. Yes. And in a wonderful per group do you take? Up to 10. Yeah. I don't want it to be too big. Yes. Because it's actually really nice for the participants to then work with each other and bond. Exactly. So if there's too many people, I find that's just a bit there's too much noise, there's too much chatter. And I want it to be a very calm. Well, yes, there's only one of me. I do have helpers. Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. I know, because I ran my own retreats for so many years, and my kind of cap was 20, and even, you know, then it would get really busy after 15 participants. Exactly. You know, you want to help everyone, and, you know, and otherwise they'll start to section out in their own little groups. Exactly. Yeah. So that's what happens. I love that. That's beautiful. And so what are some of the transformations that you see? Like, you know, what's the outcomes that they walk away with from those retreats? So they're definitely relaxed. That's a wonderful thing. Usually it's mothers that come in. They need some time away from home, which is perfectly understandable. I'm a mother of two, so I completely understand that. But for me, I think it's the pride in their work as well. You know, like I said, they usually come in not knowing how to do anything. So I do try to introduce different mediums and try to give as much information as I can during that time. And they all come away with different sheets to show them what we've used, so they can go away and buy their own items if they need. But it really is just that sense of pride and calm that they leave with, which is really lovely to see.
So is this the stuff that you're going to cover off in the following book, like in the second book? Because you said the second book is more like do it on yourself, like you share in the first book your own story and the transformations you've been through. So tell me a little bit about, give us a sneak peek into the content of the second book.
So the second book, well, the last chapter of the first book just has a very brief outline of what I've done myself to get to where I am now. So the workbook ideally will be more in depth in each of those items. I'll be asking questions for people, for people to really think about. So it's not just, what are you grateful for today, which is wonderful. But it's more in depth about pulling out those feelings yourself. Obviously, I'll guide people in getting professional help as well, because it's not something that I think you can do alone, making sure you've got the right support system around you and all of those things. So I really wanted to deep dive into the questions that I've asked myself in this process.
That's amazing. Is that the future for you? Do you want to do like a lot more the artfulness kind of stuff, or is the graphic designs always, because graphic design is kind of in a way creative and arty anyway?
Oh, definitely. And I absolutely love my design work, but I sit at a computer for sometimes up to 16 or 17 hours a day.
Wow.
That's not good for the body. It's not good for the mind. And whilst I love it, ideally I'd like to slow that down and increase the retreats. Because I've always loved helping people, but I just find I get so much enjoyment out of helping others that increasing the amount of retreats I'm able to do. Obviously, the more people I'm helping, and the more I'm getting into my own flow. So
it's a full circle when that feeling of contribution, and that is when you help others, and then they might end up helping others as well. But
absolutely,
it helps
absolutely.
It's just so rewarding. I mean, just with the book writing process, I just keep doing it over and over and over again, because it's like this feedback loop of positivity and transformation that I get to witness, and people saying you've changed my life and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, well, I want to do more of that, because at the end of the day, they say, yes, we need income and lifestyle, to be happy, but contribution is the third piece to that puzzle, that you can get to income and lifestyle. But if you don't have that sense of being able to help others who are also helping others at the same time, then you don't get, I guess, to the stage of fulfillment.
Absolutely. It's so important to be a part of the community and the wider community. We're such a global world now. It's much easier to get out there and help people. And my retreats also actually donate a percentage of the profits to 2 charities. So that's another way that I'm helping people. So tell me about the process of writing the book. You came through the 48 hours retreat. Was yours in May or August? I can't remember. May.
You were May.
It was in May, So like I said, I'd seen an ad on Facebook. I thought, well, this looks interesting, and the timing again. I completely believe in things happening at the time for a reason. The seminar was fantastic. I was just so inspired after that. So I basically just made it happen. I contacted my sister-in-law, who kindly loaned me the money to pay for it, because I didn't have that accessible at the time. So I made it happen. And the writing of the book, I think it was almost easier for me because it's my story. If I was writing a novel, I think that would be a lot harder. But I had an idea of the content before coming to the seminar. And then starting that process, or actually after the seminar, I completely rejigged what I was doing after getting advice from you and Stu, and it just made it pour out of me. It was wonderful.
Did you
being a part of.
Did you speak?
I did type because I'd actually started before coming to the seminar.
Yeah.
So I'd already started doing some of that. But in my phone, so this is I'm sure a lot of authors do this, but I've just got notes in my phone that is, as soon as I think of something, goes into that little folder and I pop that down. So I did have the nuts and bolts already there, and then rejigged it all after speaking to Stu, particularly about the format of the book.
That tends to happen quite a lot. A lot of people do a lot of pre-writing, and we always said, don't do anything until you had your session, because then that'll just give you the structure and you can just, get on with it rather than backtracking. That's
exactly.
I give them, because they often feel they need to have done a certain amount. I said, the blank slate that you are, the better it is for us, because we can just, structure it all up from the beginning.
Absolutely.
The thing I wanted to ask you is writing your own story. Did you have points of where you felt quite emotional talking about certain things? Like usually, how was that for you?
It was, for me, it wasn't too bad because I'd already done so much inner work myself. I never get over the things that I've been through. I just move forward. So there was really only one chapter that I found difficult to write, and that was about my mum. So I actually left that till last. I kept trying to go back to it and it just wasn't happening. So I just waited and waited, and then eventually that just came out of me as well. So I found it, a lot of people have asked the same question, have I found it cathartic? And writing itself is very cathartic.
Yes.
But for me, it wasn't too difficult bringing up these things again, because I have worked through them all, so much over the years.
I'm just curious, because so many of our personal story authors, they have quite emotional ups and downs throughout the writing of the book, and even going through it to edit it and things like that. I'll have to go reread. How has been the feedback since the book has come out?
Oh, brilliant. It usually brings me to tears, actually, some of the feedback that I get. I've had, there was one particular person who I actually went to high school with, and he wrote to me and told me that he's been doing his own work and has now implemented some of the things that I do to help him in his own life. And I just had no idea how difficult a time he had been having, especially through high school as well. So to know that, some 30 odd years later, that I've been able to help someone, that I've known for so long. So yeah, that was really lovely to hear, especially from the man. Yes. They're not usually as open as women with their emotions and their feelings. So to be able to, for him to speak out was really wonderful.
That's beautiful. I remember my very first book on weight loss. I had one of my friends that I went on a Kentucky tour when I was in my 20s, had accessed it and messaged me to say that her whole life has transformed because of reading that particular, and that was my very first book as well. And that she goes back to it every time she doesn't feel so like on track and all that kind of stuff. She goes, it's like my little Bible that I keep going back to it. It's just, you don't know, like sometimes how many people end up reading your book, and yes, it's nice when they speak out and actually tell you, but imagine the others who haven't said anything and have already had an impact, or it is truly, that's another way that you feel truly rewarded.
Oh, absolutely. And there's another little story that I'd love to share. For many, many years, I've been looking for a friend from primary school, because I moved to so many primary schools. I'd lost contact, and I've actually mentioned her in the book briefly. And a few weeks ago, she reached out to me because she'd seen the book online and thought, is that the same girl? Bought it, read it, and then contacted me. So we're hoping to catch up soon, which is wonderful. So I haven't seen her since I was maybe 7 years old.
And you have tried to find her?
I have.
Wow.
But I had no luck. So
that was one of your things in your story now that you reminded me of. You've moved over 30 times or something like that.
So yes, I'm actually just in the process of packing the house again. I'll be moving into my 39th home.
39th home. Oh my goodness, guys. So, you need to write a book literally on how to move homes,
I can pack a box with my eyes closed.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I know you share some of that in your
I do, yes.
well. So let's show people where they can go get this book. So I know Sharon's got a website. I'll show you guys how to get to it. It's unmaskingthepast.com.au, and that's the beautiful cover that she designed herself. And as you can see there, you can buy, there's a buy it now button. And then of course the book is also distributed and available through all your good online reseller stores and things like that. So, is there any wise tip that you'd like to give people who might be feeling, maybe, how you felt when you were starting out on this unmasking the past journey? What would you share with them?
I think the very first thing to do is obviously realize that you can't do this by yourself. You do need support. So whether that's friends or family or professionals, do reach out to someone and let them know how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And that's the first step. As soon as you share it, they say a problem shared is a problem halved. So as soon as you share it, you do already feel lighter.
Yes.
And then with that process, especially with professionals, they can then guide you in which way that you may be able to access different services.
That's wonderful. I think that's the most important thing. I think a lot of people feel like they have to solve their own problems, but it's more, you actually get a more of a rocket up your bum to do stuff when you have support. Like it's
absolutely
not just, you've committed to someone, you've gone somewhere, you've read something, you've given up your time or whatever you've shared. I love that. Yeah, I think everyone should, have a coach or go to retreats and do the work, because it's rewarding. It's time for you as
absolutely
well.
Absolutely. And it's the accountability, which is another great thing with your retreat. I was accountable.
Accountability.
I had timelines to work to, and that made a massive difference. So it's the same thing working on yourself. If you have a timeline and someone to be accountable to, that's very helpful.
Yeah, I agree. Where can people find out actually about the retreats? We showed them about the book. Where can they find about the retreats?
Yeah, so it's artfulnessretreats.com.au.
Oh, there you go. Very easy to remember.
Yes.
I love it. I know that this goes out as a podcast, so it's really good that we say it out so that they can all hear it in the artfulnessretreats.com.au. So that's wonderful. I'll check it out as well, because I don't see myself as a artist or a painter, but I know, as you say, it's more, I would be doing it for that calmness and meditation.
Exactly.
I wouldn't care if it was good or not good what came out the other end. I would just like, I think, a bit of fun.
All art is good. All art is good because it's the process. It's not necessarily what you're looking at the end. So
I know, and sometimes you see some people's like artwork, and it's like, well, that just looks like a paint was just thrown at it, but it's obviously so, special and things. And I know I was speaking to Susan Cohn, who's my LA, like she's a professional artist, and she didn't pick up a paintbrush until she was 50, and she's like exhibited in all these worldwide galleries and things. So I'd interviewed her like late last year. And she's, the same thing, like as long as you just, want and have that desire to do it, you can improve and, you can learn. And she's very big on mentors, like you said, support.
Absolutely.
Learn, get some tips. And this, I guess you would be the person that would make, a big difference versus me sitting down here in my office trying to do it, to get a few little hints and tips on how to do it properly.
Exactly. And it's getting that negative voice out of your head too, because if you do something that you don't like, I can come in and show you perhaps how you can change it to make it more like what you see in your mind.
There's hacks, right? They call it like little hacks. It's like you've been doing this like for 20 years or plus, and it's like I've been doing it for 2 minutes. How would I even know anything about or like same as when someone wants to write their first book, and I've been doing it now 12 years. This is my 12th year in business. I can do it with my eyes closed. How can they not see? But it's because they're just starting and they need to be shown the steps. Yeah, I love that. So guys, go and get Sharon. Show us your book in hand one more time. Unmasking the Past is Sharon's book. It's about her story, but also that, how to unlock your creativity, and just watch out for her next one coming out. Check out those Artfulness Retreats. I think everyone should make the time to go out to at least one of those things to experience. I think it's all about experiencing different things and then finding what you really like at the end of the day. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you smash out 2022. Thank you for being my very first interviewee author. I've loved working with you. I think you did everything we said and got the book out in a timely manner. And I can't wait, for you to release your next one and keep growing from there.
Lovely. Thank you so much. It's been such a wonderful experience.
Have a great day. I'll see you in Melbourne. Bye.
Bye.